Hello everyone, with Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, August 12, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your coworkers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what that has been like in your year recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future though they're in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the US National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. We can see that the only area of interest is newly designated Tropical Storm Ernesto. It is the fifth named storm of the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. And if we take a look at the satellite images again, we can see it right here on the rainbow satellite. The clouds, the showers, the thunderstorms associated with this system, and we can see that it extends very far, and it's even affecting portions of the Windward Islands with some amount of cloud showers and thunderstorms as we speak. And we know this system is going to be affecting portions of the Leeward Islands especially the most, and then curving northward based on what we've been seeing on the hurricane center's site. If we take a look right here at the latest as of 8 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, which is actually 7 p.m. Jamaica time, we can see the track here basically pushes it off towards the west, then it curving northward into portions of the US and British Virgin Islands, eastern Puerto Rico, and thereafter is expected to strengthen to an H that we know represents hurricane status, and then push out towards the northeast, possibly affecting Bermuda. As of right now, we see that they've put portions of the Leeward Islands under a tropical storm warning in the blue colors. We know all of that is representative of the fact that they're going to be getting in on the strongest winds, up to 40-mile-per-hour winds. That's usually what tropical storms entail, anywhere from 39 to 73-mile-per-hour winds. But the system is not that strong. It's still just right there on the edge of tropical storm status, just 40 miles per hour. That's nothing drastic, but it could definitely cause some damage. We know the tropical waves themselves can cause damage where they're bringing down trees, tearing roofs off houses. So it's definitely going to be a bad situation, especially where the rainfall is concerned. It's moving west at 28 miles per hour, so that's the only good thing about this system right now. It's moving quickly, so it should be out of there by about 2 p.m. on Wednesday, leaving some outer bands to still bring that southerly flow of moisture into portions of Puerto Rico and the US Virgin Islands. And we see the tropical storm force wind probability definitely going to be taking up majority of the Leeward Islands, where we see these yellows, these gold colors. They represent anywhere from 30 all the way up to 60% chance of these winds gusting from anywhere 39 to 73 miles per hour, and we know that the gusts could get even higher than the 40 miles per hour that we saw. And as it relates to the rainfall, we've been seeing this map going all across social media from the Hurricane Center, showing where all the rainfall is expected. The light grains we know represents anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. That's about the same as 25 to 50 millimeters of rainfall. The darker grains, that's 2 to 4 inches of rainfall, anywhere from 50 to 100 millimeters of rainfall. But we know the heavy flooding is definitely going to be where we're going to be getting in on those yellows and gold colors that represent anywhere from 4 to 6 and 6 to 8 inches of rainfall, that we know represents all the way from 100 to 200 millimeters of rainfall. And that could definitely affect islands such as Dominica, sections of Guadeloupe, sections of St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Croix, the British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and then most of that moisture should be pushing off towards the north of the Greater Antilles. So they'll definitely be getting in on some amount of flash flooding, especially across southeastern Puerto Rico right there. So we know land slippages can occur, flooding, whatever the case may be. If you live in flood prone areas, please ensure that you're taking necessary precautions so that you're not that drastically affected. And we're right on schedule. We're in what, almost mid-August, and as usual, things are starting to ramp up in terms of tropical storm and hurricane activity. We're somewhere right here, if I'm not mistaken. So it makes sense that things are starting to wrap up based on data from 1944 to 2020, where we experienced activity, an uptick in activity actually during this time period, and it's just going to be getting more robust from here as we head into September. And if we take a look at this map right here, that's basically showing records from 1850 all the way to 2009. All of these red dots represent where we've had tropical storms forming from the time period from August 11 to August 20. And we see that the main development region is definitely a hot spot, even portion of the southwestern Atlantic, the Gulf of Mexico, the Bahamas, areas in and around the United States. Not much across the south central and southwestern Caribbean at all. But we know the general tracks for these systems when it comes to August, sending everything from east to west across the Caribbean, into the Gulf of Mexico, across the Leeward Islands, into Florida, or curving out to sea like what Ernesto is expected to do. And we know that this year is going to be even more robust because of the very warm sea surface temperatures, how warm the waters are at the skin of the ocean, and these systems are definitely taking advantage of that, especially considering that we're heading into a La Nina, where we have a cooling of the waters of the eastern to the central Pacific that causes less convection, less thunderstorms, less waves becoming depression storms, hurricanes, and thus causing less wind shear across the Atlantic that tears the tops of thunderstorms apart. So with the lack of El Nino, the Atlantic is definitely going to be thriving, and it's not only the warm waters at the surface that are going to be causing the Atlantic to thrive, but even at a greater depth into the ocean. So it's going to be churning up the waters even more and bring up even more warm waters. Look at the very warm waters in the reds, oranges right here, especially in and around Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and south of Cuba. If we have a system right there, it's definitely going to be, strengthening as it moves along. What we're hoping is that there's nothing stalling, because if it stalls out, it's just going to be getting even stronger. We don't want to see any situation like that unfolding. And we know that we've already been through Alberto, Beryl, Chris, Debbie. Now we're on to Ernesto, and we know the next name on the list is Francine, followed by Gordon. And it's not a question of if we're going to be getting those systems, just when, especially considering this very active Atlantic hurricane season. Alright, so let us focus our attention on the Atlantic tropical discussion from the Hurricane Center. What we're going to be focusing on is the tropical wave that they have highlighted. Actually, they've highlighted an Eastern Atlantic tropical wave that's behind Ernesto, and they've highlighted a Western Caribbean tropical wave. And if we take a look at the surface map, we can at least see the Western Caribbean tropical wave. This was the tropical wave that has been affecting portions of Jamaica for the past 2 days. If you can't make it out, we have Jamaica right here. We have Ernesto right here. And we have the tropical wave right here. Unfortunately, we can't see that Eastern Atlantic tropical wave because it's off screen. But if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can definitely see the clouds associated with that tropical wave, some of which are across Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, sections of Central America getting in on the mix. We can also see the tropical wave right there to the east of Ernesto. And we can see Ernesto. I mean, look how big Ernesto is, with all of the high cold clouds fanning out to show that the environment is definitely conducive for development. We can even see the low level flow of clouds, the outer bands trying to wrap themselves into the center of Ernesto as he tries to get his act together with even more thunderstorm activity so that he can strengthen into a hurricane. And we know the flash flooding is definitely going to be a concern for these islands. So if you have friends or relatives in those islands, please ensure that you're checking up on them. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Monday, August 12th. It was stated that we would have received some morning rainfall across sections of some eastern parishes in Jamaica. Then we'd have had some rainfall affecting sections of some northern and western parishes in Jamaica during the afternoon. And just for reference, eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey. So Portland, St. Andrew, Kingston, St. Thomas. Western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall. So Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. While northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes on top. So Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, and Hanover. And what ended up happening? As early as 6:35 a.m., the infrared satellite images were posted and they definitely showed clouds coming into section of eastern Jamaica, more so eastern Jamaica than the south, even although portion of southern Clarendon definitely got in on some thunderstorm activity. We definitely saw those high cold cloud tops as represented by the blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, and even those sparkling white that represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. And we definitely had confirmation from some of our followers about the rainfall in their area this morning. Dr. C underscore Johnson stating just drizzling outside in Kingston. Right here on our Instagram page, we had Kelia for life stating rainy in Clarendon. Key underscore mommy stating rain in St. Thomas. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can see exactly what unfolded. The clouds were definitely coming in more so from the east. And even before the sun went down, we still had some clouds coming to sections of some southeastern parishes. Maybe sections of St. Thomas, sections of St. Catherine might have gotten in on some brief isolated early evening rainfall. And if we take a look at what took place during the afternoon at around 3:15 p.m. as this post was made here on our Twitter page. By the way, keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but on our Instagram page at Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we definitely saw that we had some clouds coming to portions of St. Thomas, sections of Kingston, St. Andrew right there in the afternoon. And we also had some isolated thunderstorms across sections of the northwest and northern and western parishes. Definitely got in on their fair share of afternoon rainfall. And we definitely have some confirmation from some of our followers on our Instagram page. So Bree underscore grab underscore is sitting raining now in Bull Bay. This was 4 hours ago. This was basically around the time we posted the afternoon satellite image. We also had Anne Marie 2640 stating rain in parts of St. James. The Kiana 98 stating sky dark in Rockfort. And that indeed confirms the rainfall for those areas. Even although portions of Crossroads didn't get much in the way of rainfall, we're going to be showing a live stream right here showing how bone dry it was in that part of the island today. By the way, keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, you can visit See Jamaica's YouTube channel where they show similar streams like in the Bogwart Gorge, the City View, the Kingston Harbour Halfway Tree. If you don't know by now, we have a partnership with this channel. And if we take a look, we'll definitely see that it was a sunny day for the most part in the afternoon as usual. Maybe partly cloudy. Definitely saw that it was dry in Crossroads at that time. This was about 10 minutes past 4. And if we take a look right here at the infrared satellite images, we're going to be looking at the very latest. And the latest is actually showing some amount of clouds coming to portions of Clarendon, St. Thomas right there. So maybe some early evening or late evening thunderstorms as we head into the night. We see the high cold cloud tops as represented by the blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds. And if we take a look at the latest Cuban Doppler radar image to match what we just saw, we can definitely see the rainfall as well. Look at the rainfall that came into portions of St. Thomas. They definitely had some isolated showers taking place. And we can also see that heavy rainfall right there to the south of Kingston and St. Catherine, as represented by the greens, yellows, oranges that we know represent some moderate to heavy rainfall. We can definitely match it to what we're seeing here on the infrared satellite image that just came out at 15 minutes past the hour. But if you take a look at the latest Barbican cam, nothing taking place across Kingston as we speak. A calm night, they'll definitely be seeing the stars tonight. Not much in the way for rainfall at all. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can tell we're 28 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Tuesday, temperature should dip down to about 26 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18Z on Tuesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Tuesday. And we see Jamaica right here embedded in some gold or some slight orange colors that represents up to 1 to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of August across Jamaica are about the same as July, about 91 degrees Fahrenheit. 91 degrees Fahrenheit when calculated is almost the same as 32.7 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32 to 34 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Tuesday. As it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Tuesday, we have Jamaica right here starting to get in on some more Saharan dust. We actually had a break today because of the tropical wave, but we can see that the browns are starting to come back in. So we might see some slight hazy skies. Some persons' asthma or sinusitis might be triggered off, but it's not that drastic. We see an even more vigorous plume behind where Ernesto is expected to be. Ernesto should be right here. But we do see some darker shades of browns behind Ernest, and we know all of that is going to be pushing from east to west across the main development region into the Caribbean, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north. What we only hope is that by the time it gets to the Caribbean and Jamaica, it actually dwindles down to more of those lighter shades of browns that we see across the Caribbean already. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see the majority of the Caribbean, as usual, getting on those lighter shades of blues to darker shades of blues that represent anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height to 1.5 meter wave height, as we can see by the key on the bottom right. And the highest waves should be where we have Ernesto. We see those purples all the way up into the pinks and burgundy colors that represent anywhere from 2, maybe all the way up to 6 meter wave height. And it makes sense because that's where the strongest winds are going to be. We know Ernesto is a storm kicking up some high waves because of the 40 mile per hour winds or more as it continues to strengthen and moves towards the west. So we see the high waves right here across the Leeward Island, and it makes sense that the highest waves are going to be right there. The highest winds are going to be causing the highest waves. It is only normal for that to happen. So expect some strong winds. Hopefully we don't get some power outages over there at all. If we take a closer look at Jamaica in terms of the wind, we can definitely see the flow. Winds are definitely going to be coming in from the east tomorrow, more so from the east northeast on the north coast, coming in from the east curving to the north and the south coast. And we also see that the air is going to be piling up across inland areas of some central and western parishes in Jamaica. So you might just have that daytime heating, that diurnal convection. That's where we're going to be having the cumulus clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. And with the upper-level winds coming in from the south tomorrow, look at this. We're getting some southerly upper-level winds across the island tomorrow. So we might see a thing like this happening. If you look back at the infrared satellite images, we can see the high cold cloud tops definitely bursting up and, not much being shared at all. But tomorrow we might see these high cold cloud tops being blown off towards the north for tomorrow. Maybe bring more into overcast skies, section of some northern parishes with more of the thunderstorms across section of some south central and southwestern parishes in Jamaica. We'll see how that goes. Either way, in terms of the rainfall that's being forecasted, we can already see the rainfall that's being experienced right now across eastern Jamaica happening. This is 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 9 p.m. Jamaica time. And we already see the blues represent rainfall affecting portions of St. Thomas, which matches what we just saw on the Cuban Doppler radar images as well as the infrared satellite image. So it's already happening. Tomorrow now, as we head into, let's say, the early morning hours, this is about 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is about 12 a.m. Jamaica time. So not necessarily tomorrow, but midnight tonight. Look at where the rainfall is expected across sections of some eastern parishes, maybe sections of some southern parishes like what the Euro is showing, GFS not so much. Either way, maybe some more isolated showers for St. Thomas and Portland throughout the night tonight. Then by afternoon on Tuesday, this is 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time, we see the blues represent rainfall where? Across sections of some central and western parishes in Jamaica. So we see the consensus definitely portions of especially western Jamaica. We see these darker blues and greens across portions of Westmoreland, southern or southeastern Hanover, southern St. James, Trelawney, section of northern St. Elizabeth, northern Manchester, northwestern Clarendon. Even portions of Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Catherine are shaded on the GFS. Euro also showing something similar, not so much St. Thomas and Portland. But we see the consensus that definitely central and western Jamaica is going to be getting on the most in the way for rainfall tomorrow. By the way, we know central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex. So St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. So look out for that rainfall, especially across the inland portion of the island, more so northern section of Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, southern section of St. Anne, St. Mary, right there into portions of St. Andrew. Even although St. Andrew, Kingston, right there is an eastern, or are referred to as eastern parishes. And we see that the accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in consensus that there's going to be rainfall somewhere across Jamaica tomorrow. Keep in mind that both of these maps are showing where rainfall is expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. Not saying that's going to be raining from now all the way up until then, but these are the areas that are going to be picking up the most in the way of rainfall. GFS more so showing Western Jamaica getting in on the most in the way of rainfall. We see a dot of red there that represents all the way up to 0.75 of an inch of rainfall. The GFS showing more in the way of rainfall across eastern parishes in Jamaica, maybe far eastern St. Thomas, eastern or southeastern Portland with the reds right there. Either way, we'll take it. We see consensus, we see differences. We're in the month of August. We usually receive an increase in the amount of rainfall that we usually get per year. And we'll definitely take the rainfall to cool down the temperatures that we're currently experiencing across the island, especially considering how hot Tuesday is expected to be. We can see Kingston's bar graph right here at the top, representing rainfall in millimeters. They usually get almost 100 millimeters of rainfall in August. Montego Bay's bar graph right here at the bottom, showing rainfall for August, almost 5 inches of rainfall. That's almost 125 millimeters of rainfall. You can do the math yourself. We have a nice little graphic right here, converting rainfall from inches to millimeters. 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. So you can do the math. Just visit weatheranClimate.com to find out about your specific parish and see how the rainfall is distributed throughout the year. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, the Leeward and Windward Islands definitely getting battered by the clouds associated with Tropical Storm Ernesto as we speak. Northern South America definitely getting in on some thunderstorm activities. Venezuela, section of Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras definitely got lashed by the tropical wave today. El Salvador, Guatemala as well. Even section of Cuba, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico got in on some amount of rainfall. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we're going to be seeing what's happening right now. We can definitely see that as of 8:35 p.m., the rainfall is definitely lashing portions of the eastern Caribbean as we speak. There's definitely some flash flooding taking place for sure, anywhere from Grenada northward. So let's focus on the northeastern Caribbean at first. We're going to be looking at the images from earlier today to show that, yes, they've been getting in on that rainfall today with more so of an east-northeasterly flow. Southwestern Puerto Rico with that strong thunderstorm in the afternoon. Section of the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda. And if we take a look at the latest image, we still have more rainfall coming in even as we speak. If we take a look at the Barbados radar, look at all of this heavy rainfall right there across the waters in and around Barbados, especially to the north and east of there, with those yellows, oranges, reds that can cause some serious flash flooding. You can also see that rainfall coming into section of Guadeloupe, Dominica. Some more rainfall definitely expected to come into portions of Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, section of Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago as well. If you take a look at the weather via Doppler radar images, we can also see some rainfall as we speak across sections of Colombia, Honduras associated with the tropical wave, Belize, Guatemala, sections of the Yucatan Peninsula. You can also see some rainfall coming into portions of western Cuba as well. And if we take a look at the 24-hour forecast in terms of rainfall, this is some crazy rainfall that's expected because of Ernesto for the Eastern Caribbean. We see that both the Euro and the GFS months are definitely in consensus that there are going to be some dark reds. That's some burgundies that represent up to 2 inches. Even some purples and pinks in there that represent up to 3 to 4 inches of rainfall. This is just ridiculous for portions of the northeastern Caribbean. So anywhere from Puerto Rico eastward, the US and British Virgin Islands, and we just mentioned earlier, all the way down to portions of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But the usual, anywhere from 0.1 of an inch of rainfall all the way up to, let's say, a little less than an inch of rainfall for anywhere from Suriname westward, sections of Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, section of the Yucatan Peninsula, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Cuba, the Bahamas, and Florida. We see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.